So now on to a look at the part computers play in engineering and carpet design.
The company that I work for makes switches for motor vehicles, like this headlamp and indicator switch. Computers have come into my training in several ways. Most recently, the company sent me on a computer-aided design course. This is the sort of thing that I've been doing. This is basically half a sphere with a step slot form in the centre. And the first thing I have to do is create a two-dimensional view, exactly like the one in the book, a plan view. I then take this view and project the lines and the arcs to give me a three-dimensional image. First of all, I tell the computer which lines and arcs I want to project. I then tell it where I'm projecting those lines from and where I'm projecting those lines to. If we then look at this in an isometric view, we can see now we've got a sense of depth and a three-dimensional wireframe picture. I can then tell the computer where I want to put surfaces. I digitise the boundaries of these surfaces, and it will put both flat and curved surfaces in the picture for me. After this, it's just a repeat step over and over again to surface the whole model. Once all the surfacing work's then been completed, we can take this file and create a shaded image of this object. At the moment, for my occupation, I mainly work on the traditional drawing board rather than on the CAD system in our office, but quite a few of the designers are using the CAD, of course, depending on the projects that they're working on. About 80% of my time spent actually at the drawing board, but then again we have the workshop facilities where, you know, we can make mock-ups of designs that we've drawn on the board. And then, of course, sometimes a little development work comes into what you're doing on the drawing board. I first became interested in engineering as a career at a school careers evening when lots of local firms came and spoke to the pupils about different occupations. I think about 200 people actually applied to Lucas for apprenticeships, and only 12 were given positions. First of all, we had to fill in an application form, then went for an entrance examination. Then that led to another practical examination actually before the interview. The practical examination was different parts of things left all unassembled, basic things like a peg, a simple lock, a chain, a light bulb fitting, which you then had to fit back together. After the interview, I received a letter saying that I'd gained an apprenticeship with the company, and then I started at the training school. I was quite frightened the day I started, and actually had second thoughts when I got to work in the car. There was about 30 boys there, and I just didn't want to get out. So I thought I would be the only person who didn't know what a milling machine and what a lathe and what a grinder was, but actually half the boys didn't either. Once I got inside the training school, I mean, they just treated me just like a person, not a boy or a girl. It all went then. training school's quite strict.
He hasn't cleaned his vice here. There's some dirt on there, look. You see that? And you've also missed cleaning around here. There's some more dirt on there. So he loses a point for that. Knock him a point off.
The standard of your written work and the standard of the practical work is all examined very thoroughly.
Right, let's have a see what you're doing.
The most basic exercise that you do when you start is usually to file a block of metal flat and square, which isn't as easy as it sounds.
Right, can you see it's rounded in the middle? I have to show you how to file some off the middle.
It's soul destroying because every time you go back to the instructor, it's either not flat or it's not square, and you have to get it as near to perfect as you can.
Can you see where the file marks are going across from corner to corner? Then I'm going to change direction and file the other way. And in that way, it shows all that centre area raised up. So you have to concentrate on keeping your file flat so that that feathers out to the corners.
Everybody gets it right in the end, you have to. About 10 o'clock in the morning, you get changed, go up into the gymnasium, start and do some exercises, and then go out on a mile run every day. It's not exactly competitive. The run and the exercises are just to give you a basic physical fitness. As well as your time at the training school, you do get quite a lot of homework. We have lectures of people coming from outside in the factories, come in, explain their occupation, and you keep that in this, which is a logbook, along with everything else that you do during your training, and this is kept as a record of everything that you do during the 4-year apprenticeship. These are some of the things that I've kept just for myself. That's a photograph of a football match between the 1st and 2nd year apprentices. That was a badge that we got when we went on a week's outward bound course up the Lake District to Hammerbank at Windermere. These, the Christmas toys, that's something that we do every year. We refurbish toys for the local deprived children at the training school, and that's a photograph of a leaders' meeting of the training school leaders. One day a week I've had day release at a local college. First of all, for 2 years, I studied for my ordinary national certificate. For example, we did a technical drawing course.
Morning, lads. This morning we're going to be having a look at this object here. This is a wooden pattern of a typical casting. And what I'd like to do this morning is to draw 3 views of this casting. I'd like to draw a front view, looking directly this way into the casting, an end view looking this way onto the casting. Now on the overhead projector here, I have 2 views already produced, the front view and the plan view. Now I'd like you to reproduce these views full size and also produce the view of this section down the centre line, also in full size.
Then in the higher national certificate we got to use the college's own computer-aided design system.
In order to put a drawing onto the screen, the type of thing you'll be doing in technical drawing, we've got to combine the movements of the screen, the pad, the mouse and the keyboard. If I want to draw, for instance, a line, first of all I pick a point anywhere there. And from that point, if I want to draw a horizontal line, I put the cursor roughly horizontal from the point. L lets me pick up a length, and then I put in the length I want, and we get the line. Same thing again for horizontal, L and then 50. And then to complete the rectangle, I don't need to put the distance in. I merely pick up the end of the line I've got by pressing the J key, which closes the rectangle.
The first 18 months I spent off the job training in the training school, and then I came to work in the design office. Here in the design office, we design switches, and the first piece of information we get is a customer drawing. We can tell from the customer drawing what they actually want the switch to do, whether it's headlamp, wiper, whatever, the various positions of the switch. And then we use the customer specification, which tells us the product life, what sort of high temperatures, low temperatures it has to stand, vibrations, humidity. We design a switch to the car manufacturer's requirements and also design it so that we can build it here in our factory. Computers are only just beginning to come into my job, but they're definitely here to stay.